Hello, this is the start of my insert game is better than your insert game or franchise or whatever. In this one, I'm talking about the Final Fantasy series. So, the Final Fantasy that I grew up with is better than other people than the later generation Final Fantasy games, in my opinion. And I'll give you the reasons why. So, let's get into it after the cut. So, basically, like the title placard says, it all boils down to characters. Now, in Final Fantasy VI, which I will be using as the main example for my argument, the main villain is Kefka, alright? Kefka is a Magi Knight who essentially was driven crazy in gaining the power to use magic. And he's basically, like, everyone knows he's off of his fucking gourd, but he's essentially gotten worse over the years as he's gained more magical ability and been unfettered. Because while he is crazy, he does get the job done, right? So he is fucking insane, alright? And he has a reason to want to see the world burn, because essentially speaking, you know, he essentially was this orphan kid who was essentially taken off the streets and then subjected to horrific experiments in order to be made into a weapon for the Empire. So, you know, I can kind of understand why he's a crazy son of a bitch. He's evil, but I can understand where he's coming from. Now, for those Final Fantasy VII fans, your primary villain is a tall, long-haired, effeminate-looking dude who's angry because he's a clone, or at least he was created from the DNA of an alien creature that died upon entry to the planet. And so the world must be destroyed because of that. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But this is what you people wanted. And, I mean, you know, if you play the original, if you play Final Fantasy VI, you essentially have characters that each have a deep motivation for wanting to be there, except for the, like, two joke characters, Mog and Umaru, the Yeti. But, I mean, hell, they're joke characters, come on, they can't all be winners. But the rest of the cast all have interesting stories. Locke, Terra, Edgar, Sabine, Celeste or Chalice, depending on what your pronunciation is, Cyan, Shadow, Realm, Strago, they all have interesting stories. Not so much with the characters in Final Fantasy VII. Cloud Strife is a blank slate. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even have memories. The memories he does have, he got from Zack Fair. So, like, he's basically a blank slate that had ideas foisted upon him. Then you look at, you know, Barrett has an interesting story. Sid's story is kind of sort of interesting. Tifa, like, her whole thing is, I really want to fuck Cloud Strife, and he just doesn't get it, which is kind of weird. Kate Sith's story is trash. Red 13's story is pretty good. Vincent's Valentine's story is good, but it's never really explored that heavily in depth in the game. You have to play the side games in order to get his story. And here's the thing, if you have to play a side game in order to get the full and complete story of a character, that story's not that good, you know? Like, you know, that's just, it can't be that good if you have to read the side story. So basically, I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, Final Fantasy VI is great. Final Fantasy VII is trash. The only reason I think people really like that game is because Sony spent the equivalent of almost $500 million promoting that game. I mean, it was in magazines, it was on billboards, there were movie trailers for the shit in movie theaters. Like, I mean, it was a huge marketing campaign. But had that marketing campaign not been there, I think the game wouldn't have done that well. I mean, it wouldn't have been a flop, but it wouldn't have done nearly as well. And hence why no Final Fantasy has outsold the original Final Fantasy VII. Because of the marketing, not because it's really that good. So with that being said, let's move on to the next, to my conclusion after the cut. So, let's talk about the conclusion. In conclusion, Final Fantasy VII is a game where an amnesiac goes on a journey and discovers he isn't really all that special at all, and as a matter of fact, the ultimate villain is just a big fucking mama's boy who is angry that he didn't know his mother, so the whole world has to be destroyed. Versus Final Fantasy VI, where a girl finds out she's a child of two worlds, and everyone discovers that it's all connected and there's a lot of strange shit going on. And man, they have to learn to work together in order to take on a foe who was driven mad through experimentation, who essentially succeeds at taking over the world and getting everything he wants, and he's still not happy. So, at the end of the day, my Final Fantasy is better than your Final Fantasy. So, with that being said, tell me your thoughts in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought, what you think, what you're thinking. Remember, keep it civil. Give reasons why you think Final Fantasy VII might be better than Final Fantasy VI, or the modern Final Fantasies might be better than the old school retro Final Fantasies, in clear, concise manner, and we can have a dialogue. With that being said, that's the end of the video. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. You can reach me at Matthew Wesley at mrredfox91 on Twitter. You can also reach the channel at mrredfoxbsbusters at gmail.com. So with that being said, peace and good day.